Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak, and I want to talk about a very serious subject, and has to do with suicide and everything pertaining to it, from a religious point of view, an atheist point of view, an agnostic point of view. Strictly about whether or not it's considered a sin to kill yourself. All right, I'm going to get to the point. For some years, for many years, I was brought up to believe, back in the day when I used to believe in God, as a kid growing up, that you don't kill yourself, that suicide is a sin, and if you do kill yourself, regardless of what the reason is, regardless as to why you're doing it or this and that, you will go to hell and suffer even worse torment because it's an insult against God, it's an insult against Jesus. The Bible says you'll go to hell if you do that. Christian fundamentalists try to program that stupid crap into your head. And I bought into that bullshit when I was growing up. But then, when I got into my early 20s, especially around 23, 24, around there, I said, well, what if that person was going through so much psychological and emotional torment? Let's just say that person wasn't exactly right in the head. You know, people that's, like, for any number of reasons. They were a war vet or whatever. They went into the military. They went to go fight someplace for about 6 months to almost a year, and then they ended up getting shell shock, or what they call post-traumatic stress disorder or whatever, as well as getting wounded, and then when they came out, like within a year, they committed suicide because they couldn't take it no more. Do they go to hell too? And then I started thinking for myself. I started thinking, actually for myself, it says, that wouldn't seem right. If that's true, why would God disown someone like that? It doesn't make sense. And a lot of Christian fundamentalists would basically say, you don't question God. This is what he says, and that's that. And even though I said okay, and the outside, okay, I understand, whatever. But in the inside, there was a conflict saying, a very strong conflict saying, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. There should be a certain circumstance, and that would make sense to me. Maybe I just don't understand, but I don't know. And then it was the way I thought was in conflict with the way I felt. The way you think and the way you feel is two separate things. It's about your empathy, or I should say your emotional viewpoint. You know, you don't really share the same feelings as the other one. And it's because, is it really because it's true, or is it because we're actually taught to believe that that's true? What if they got it wrong? What if the Bible wasn't really right? Or maybe what if someone misinterpreted that? I was asking all these questions when I was growing up. Even when I got into my 30s, I was doing that. And I even argued with some people saying, it just doesn't seem right. What if this, what if the person went through, was so mentally and physically abused, and they snap one day, they're in a mental hospital or whatever, and they're in and out of a mental hospital, and then one day they just kill themselves. They just, you know, however they killed themselves, whatever they did. I mean, for them to go to hell afterwards, and if someone says, I can't take it anymore, I want to die, and they're in the hospital, and then the priest says, you can't kill yourself. Jesus says, if you kill yourself, it's an immortal sin, or something like that, and you'll go to hell and you'll suffer even more. He's already going through fucking torment from the abuse he got growing up as a kid, and then ending up in the hospital, and then you're gonna suffer more torment if you kill yourself? Do you imagine you're adding on more psychological and emotional torment towards that person? What you want to do is give them psychological and emotional solace. That's your job. If you're someone who's very religious, if you're a chaplain, whatever, and you're having to deal with a person like that, but you don't scare them and scare them more. I can't kill myself, otherwise I'll end up in hell. I'll be with Satan and all this other stupid fucking bullshit. Plain and simple, stupid fucking bullshit. I'm very sorry to say it, what I'm about to say right now, but you have to be very ignorant, very naive to buy into that crap. And if you still stick to your guns, then you're a stupid motherfucker for actually thinking that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's just how it is. You have to question things. The way you feel about something, your emotion, is a lot more important than the way you think, because the way you've been taught about right and wrong, the way you've been programmed to think, mind conditioned from so many years of being fed so much religious bullshit. That's something to think about. Now, some of you Christian fundamentalists might say that what I'm saying, I'm going too far, that I'm an idiot or whatever. Well, just think about what if I'm right and you're wrong. Just think about that. In my point of view, the only way, if there is some kind of torment of something evil, if you do kill yourself, if it is true, not that I'm saying that it is, but if it is true, then it would be more of an alien or extraterrestrial deception. Because they could read, they know every person, their memory files, meaning what they've been taught, and then these specific type of extraterrestrial entities. I'm not going to name who they are because there's a lot to explain and there's a lot to go through, and whatever, that kind of thing. It's going to take too long. But these particular groups, which is known through folklore up until now, they could take advantage. They can know exactly what you're afraid of. They'll read your memory files, and if they think and they actually believe that if they actually know that you believe in hell, they could take advantage of it, and then they'll create that atmosphere for you. and then they'll just have fun with you. That's the only way that would happen if it's true that something bad will happen if you kill yourself. That's the only thing that I could think of. Because before, in my early 30s and stuff like that, I would say that it would make sense if someone killed themselves to escape punishment. Like some gangbanger who's like the worst of the worst, or some mafia guy, or someone from a crime syndicate killed a lot of innocent people, and then one day he's just completely fucked. The cops are gonna get him. There's nowhere he could run and hide, and he said, "Fuck this! I'm not going to prison for the rest of my life." And then, yeah, fuck all of you. He killed a couple of cops, and then he starts laughing, saying, "Fuck you," and then pow, blows his brains out to escape punishment, and then he goes to hell, being tormented by, devils and stuff like that. Back then, when I would argue and say that would make sense to me. That would. But someone who went through a lot of physical abuse, sexual, whatever, everything, all sorts, growing up as a kid and being bullied in schoolyards, all the way through high school and also in college or whatever, or in the workplace, and things are just getting worse and worse. And one day he just snaps, and he can't take it anymore, and he takes his own life because of it. That doesn't make sense to me that he would go to hell and suffer even worse. If that's what really God says, then he's not God. He would have to be a very self-centered, arrogant, sadistic, cold-hearted motherfucker to actually think that, to actually to make people be warned about it and say this is what's gonna happen to you. A God like that would have to be evil. But again, in that perspective, if he exists, in my opinion, aside from this all-knowing, all-powerful God that loves you or whatever like that, I don't believe in that type. I don't think I already came to terms with the idea that someone like that doesn't exist. My concept of God is more of the power of the cosmos, and I said this before, and not to sound like a broken record, I'm not going to get into that, but it's that power of unconditional love. Now, again, with the suicide, it makes sense that you do not go to hell. If you die, especially with a lot of negative energy, there are what I would consider extraterrestrial beings that will take advantage of a person like that. But if a person wants to end it, and let's just say that he was fortunate enough not to fall into that kind of trap, then I don't think to me, I don't think that's going to happen. I talked about in one video, because I know that some of you are probably saying, or a lot of you are saying, well, what happens to you if you do die? What happens to you? What happens? And to answer that question, I did a video called "What Happens When You Die?" and then with a question mark at the end, and I posted it, and it doesn't show up on the video list. I went under the title and even under my YouTube name, and suspiciously I can't find it. It's on my personal video list. You would have to if you go into my channel, you have to keep scrolling down until you find that title, and you'll find out that, what happens when you die, and then explains exactly what I'm talking about. You'll know everything you need to know about what I'm saying. So again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, you know what to do. And to all of you, take care.